Tomas Mauricio, come on down. Tyler Kissner, come on down. David Romero, come on down. Heath, come on down. You're the next contestants on The Price is Right.
Hey, gotta love that podcast show. Hey, yeah, I love that podcast show. Oh, BS and beer is the place to go to get all the Saints news. Hell yeah, podcast show. Hey, gotta love that podcast show.
Oh, wait, did you?
Welcome in another week, another edition. It's the BS and Beer podcast crew recording live at our virtual studio. With me as usual, Heath to my right. To my left, Tomas Mauricio. I'm Dave Romero, and I'm your host. And for the next hour, we'll be talking more Saints and useless information with an emphasis today on useless information than anyone needs to know about. So from Los Angeles to New York, what do we say? Ontario to Houston. Grab a drink, sit back, relax, because we're about to do all those places across the globe, because we can't forget about all of our European people that listen to us, follow us.
Yeah.
We can't forget about those guys.
On the other side of the pond.
All those
from
guys.
down
From
under.
Key West to Singapore.
There you
Singapore.
go.
We're going to have to get a map out, because it's way over my head.
From the North
This
Pole
week
to the
on
South
tap.
Pole.
Exactly.
There you go.
This week on tap for you, Tomas, he's going to have his 2019 mock draft ready to go.
I'm on.
Heath brings his in-depth report on the team's deep snapping situation. You won't want to miss that.
That's right.
And forget plastic straws. Is the NFL considering rule changes to eliminate plastic jock cups? Okay? Is it the environmental hazard they think it is? We want your reaction. All that and more.
After all, that's what I can only imagine.
No. I mean, I'm trying to make the show interesting. I got to come up with something.
Yeah.
But I think I have it. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see here. Let me read this to you guys.
Go ahead.
All right. A Subway diner was they say that weird. A diner, the person dining, not the actual diner, if they would call it a diner, was shocked when they measured her 6-inch sub and it was only 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Carly Colton ordered a sandwich for lunch, and after opening it, she thought it looked rather small.
Yeah.
She then decided to whip out a ruler
Dave
and
would know
measure the
about this,
sub,
wouldn't he?
Yeah.
and found her suspicions were correct.
Yeah.
The sub, only 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
She said she popped out to grab something quick bite to eat, and then that was the nearest place to go. When she got back to the office, looked awful small. She was kind of irritated. You know, man, you're not getting your value.
Yeah.
So there you go. You measured it.
You know, I have so many things
So,
I can
well,
say,
hey,
but I'm like,
hold on.
Maybe the sandwich was cold.
Hang on. Hang on. We have a top 10 list for you.
Okay.
The top 10 things the sandwich said when it was exposed for being only 4.5 inches.
All right, go ahead.
All right, number 10.
Yeah.
It was cold.
There you go. There you go.
Number 9. I'm a grower, not a shower.
There you go. I've used that one before.
Number 8. I'll grow once she puts her hands around me.
There you go.
All right. Number 7. It is really the national average.
There you go.
Number 6. Sizes and everything,
There
right?
you go,
You
yeah.
know, it's the motion of the ocean. I'm just saying, you know.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Number 5. I was on white bread. Wait a minute, man. Maybe
man,
it
that's
was
not
an
right,
Asian
man.
bagel or something.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sesame seeds.
Maybe it was rice flour.
Number 4. It's not uncommon for sandwiches to have performance issues.
There you go.
All right. Number 3. Keep that ruler away from me. Number 2. I was in the pool.
There you go. There you go.
And number 1 thing that the sandwich said after it was exposed for being 4.5 inches, it's really all about the girth.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
The top 10 list
That's
of
right.
things
Well,
that the
you know, more
the
than a
sub-
mouthful's of waste, so there you have it.
I know nothing about that. Next, you're gonna be making mayo jokes. I don't
All
know.
of those top 10 said by men everywhere.
Yeah,
There
right.
you go.
I mean, there's still more stuff. I mean, there's still more that's out there, but that
Yeah.
was the top 10.
All right,
I
well,
think
that's
it
good.
needed
That's good.
absolutely needs to be said.
Was,
Well,
now, was that Papa John's?
no,
No, I'm
Subway.
sorry, Jimmy John's or Subway? Which
It
one
was
was
Subway.
You know, if it'd be like you were talking about the contest, what is it? Not Miss America, but
it? Oh, the Miss America beauty pageant.
yeah. So all these sandwiches, they would bring them out and they would put themselves on display in
That's
like
right.
a bathing suit competition.
That's correct. Not anymore.
No, it's
No,
done.
I'm so sorry.
It's
We're,
done.
we're done with that.
Not happy
No,
about
it's not. It's about talent now.
Hmm.
You know, like who
Really?
can twirl the best
That'll be
baton?
new.
Yeah, so that's- who can twirl
Since
the
when?
best baton?
Yeah.
Who's going to tune in, Tomas?
Not me.
So, okay. So, Tomas, tell us. I think we start talking about this. Interesting. Tell us more. I don't know if everybody
Well, what's
understands
come
what we're
out
talking
is that the new director of the Miss America pageant, Gretchen Carlson, sorry, former Fox News woman, she's decided that they have to have some major changes, so they have eliminated the swimsuit competition. There will be no more swimsuit competition at the Miss America pageant.
Yeah.
Instead, they're going to emphasize entertainment. So there'll be ventriloquists. There will be twirling ballerinas. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Musical glasses.
musical glasses. Yeah, comedians perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know, but
All-
there will be
all
no
things-
more swimsuit competitions. And to tie into that, Dave. Now, my understanding is that the NFL. You were talking about replacing plastic cups. My understanding is that the NFL is considering changing the cheerleader uniforms because they also have a lot of plastic. And so that's going to be being changed now. I understand
Yes.
that they're
Your
thinking,
inside sources.
a source not to be named who was named at some future date.
I got you.
That source has informed us that the new garb will be going back to medieval times.
Oh, well, they're going that way. They're going way
Oh,
back.
my God, yeah.
There will be hoop skirts
Nice.
and Victorian collars
Yeah.
on
There you
all
guys,
the
the length
women
of
on the
their neck.
sideline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just because, you know, it's
That way
a-
they can't be objectified.
that is correct.
That's what it is.
That's
Don't
right.
wanna do that.
But they're still going to keep it $7.25
Apparently the,
minimum wage for the payment,
yeah.
so don't worry about
The
it.
Miss America pageant also decided one of the changes had to be no more ratings. Is that
That's
Yeah,
correct.
right,
the
right,
ultimate
right.
goal?
That's right.
Because
There
all
will
the
be no
stuff
more
you-
sponsors.
All the stuff you said, I'm going to obviously cut the show short so that we don't miss a minute of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't want to miss a minute
All
of
right.
that.
I'm just
All
letting
right.
you know.
Hey, I say we get this show started.
Let's
'cause
get it
It's
started,
already
brother.
off the rails.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, exciting news day. All right, welcome back. It's the BS and Beer Podcast crew. Dave Romero, Heath Elson, Tomas Mauricio. Listen, I want to give a quick thanks. I don't know, 2 shows ago, we gave kind of a heartfelt, hey, give us a follow. We kind of realized that we don't do that much, and the more you learn about this whole podcast, VCast thing, it has a lot to do with all of that, getting likes and thumbs up. So we kind of,
Right.
So Who Dat, Wayne, and Rave, 2Dub, Grave. Here's the thing. I know there are a lot more people who went out and did some positive stuff for us. I didn't realize how all over the place we are. And I don't mean that to sound braggadocious. What I'm saying is, we're on Podbean, we're on iCloud or iTunes, Google Play. You guys are Google or
I'm Podbean.
smartphone. What do you call it?
Android.
Android guys. See, I'm an I guy. And so like I don't
explains it all right there.
I don't have access to all those different
I wonder if Apple has that
platforms.
one patented.
I guy?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna sell that.
Yeah.
I'm an I guy.
Go hurry up and register.
Yeah,
before
I'm gonna
Apple
do that
thinks
real
of-
quick.
And
So
just tell them, anybody owns an apple is a shower, not a grower.
all right. So anyway, I want to thank you guys, and we appreciate it, and we hope you continue to do it. I mean,
Yes,
listen,
absolutely. Absolutely.
This is a
Thumbs
labor of love
ups.
for us. Yeah, the thumbs up. This is a labor of love. I do it personally. Is when I see there's more people listening and the positive results. To me, that's why I go out and do it. So if you have a chance and you can run out there and you can give us a thumbs up, whatever, positive review, we appreciate it.
Yeah, and don't forget to call us. What's that number again there, Dave?
Why are you trying to put me on the spot? 701-901-1295. Or you can email us, and man, I'm starting to really like the email thing.
Yeah.
At first the hotline, the graffiti hotline was cool, but I like the emails because people get, I don't know, it's just a little more fun. But that's bsandbeer@icloud.com. Give us an email, give us a hotline call.
Or follow us on tweet.
Follow us on
Tweet
Twitter.
tweets.
Yeah. And listen, if you follow the VCast, it's on what is it? Shoot, I don't even remember. YouTube, yeah, YouTube. So it's new, man. I'm working on
What is he
it.
stuttering
Y'all
about?
remember, y'all remember how long it took me just to remember your names and then our
yeah.
email address and
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Tomas over there, Heath over here.
yeah, no, man. But I did it on purpose for the challenge.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Oh,
now I can
okay.
do it.
Now
I
we
can
know
do it.
the
Now I
truth
can do
comes
it.
out. I see,
Yeah.
I see.
All right, so let's get to some Saints news. Not a bunch out there, but hey, we'll find something to talk about, I can assure you. Let's see. We got a $3 million cap relief
That's
from
correct.
Fleener.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So we knew it was coming down the pipe. I think that my first reaction was I was hoping that Fleener would actually be able to play. I was hoping that
You don't
they
even
would
know
get a
where he
little
is.
something out. Yeah, and so they end up cutting Kobe Fleener after his second year. Concussion issues, health issues was the main concern. Now, he was obviously not as productive as we'd hoped he was, but really it was the injuries that derailed him.
Yes.
So we get some money back from that, about $3 million.
$3 million. Yeah.
Problem is that's more going to be how can I define this? Maintenance money. That's going to be money to look all our draft picks assigned, everything in case we have to pick up a veteran or something later in the season.
Right.
We're not going to be able to do anything fun with that because anybody worth spending that kind of money on is already playing somewhere.
Yes.
So that's going to be. It's nice to have that money towards next year, towards
And they need to
signing.
be saving that up for Michael Thomas.
Well, yeah, a lot of those guys we have to sign. Not, I think early in the season we talked about it, and we were like this offseason, but it's actually not this coming off season.
one
The
after
following off season is going to be the one
Yeah.
where a lot of the bills are coming due.
Yep. So it's time to get it done now.
Well, if we can, I don't know that 2 years in advance might be a little bit too far down the road to sign a guy.
Well, when they come into their fourth year, when they're in those 5 year,
No, I mean it's
options.
time to get a Super Bowl win now before
Well,
the
and
bill
that's what-
comes due.
Oh, well, that too.
Okay, yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The window
Absolutely.
we talked about is 2 years. I mean, not reasonable. And listen, I know we can get into
I
it.
think
and
we've
how
been
many
saying
years.
that for about 4 years now, though. So
I
I'm
know.
not sure
Now,
how many
I'm gonna
2
tell
year
you,
windows.
look,
Call
we
me
got.
out. I'll be that guy.
There was that article that just came out where they interviewed Adrian Peterson, who's always been the number one guy on his team when it came to being fit. And they interviewed him and said, well, the only guy's ever beaten him, Drew Brees.
That's true. He spoke highly of Drew Brees.
He's the man.
Okay,
Yeah.
so listen, it's not that we don't know. How do I say this? It's not that we don't know that Drew Brees works out hard. It's not that we don't think that he's a team leader. But I think that statement by Peterson really put it in perspective. He's talking about that he's not just the team leader and he's there a lot of hours and watches a lot of film. He's actually the hardest worker on the team.
Yeah.
And in shape and being able to do his job. I mean, again, go back and think about this. How many games since he's been here has he missed? He had that plantar fasciitis thing like I had. I was out for 3 months not being able to get on the treadmill. What, he missed 1 game, 2 games?
I don't even. Did he even miss a game?
He missed 1. I think
Yeah,
he
he
missed
one game for something
right.
at
Yeah,
some point.
he
I don't
did.
remember.
And it was
it.
that plantar fasciitis thing.
Yeah.
So,
Well-
I mean, the guy is in tremendous physical shape.
Yeah.
And you have to be between the workout business, being sharp mentally, his diet. Look, I don't put it past the guy to go 5 years.
Look, I think he has time left.
Yeah.
I definitely think he can keep playing at a high level. We know he takes care of himself, but you can't cheat
Father time.
All the time.
Yeah.
time,
that's true.
or odds, basically. When you get to a certain age, the odds rise dramatically that any one thing, no matter how much you take care of yourself,
Yeah. One shot to
You know.
get you going. Yeah.
Well,
it's a
But luckily
possibility,
we
and
have
it's something
some-
you have to
We have
plan
some
for.
backups, for quarterback. Are you going to talk about the backups at
we
quarterback?
got tons of. As soon as Heath gets finished with his deep snapper preview,
All right.
we'll talk about the backup quarterback
Okay,
situation.
sounds good to
No,
me.
but you kind of stole my thunder, Heath. That's the key element. Is it's not that Drew Brees can't do it anymore. It's that he could be perfectly healthy. He could be the Drew Brees we saw last year. But let's just use last year, for instance. Last year, if he gets hit, do you remember that sack that the 49ers had on Drew Brees? Zach Strief gave up this sack where they showed pictures and Drew's neck and his face was all contorted.
Yeah.
He got clothesline. It ended up coming back as a penalty.
Right.
If he takes that hit this year or this past season, it could have ended his whole career.
Yeah.
As
Every
a-
year that goes on, there's a more and more chance that hit will.
Exactly.
Be
And
significant. Sure.
that's the key to it is that he could literally play 5 more years. I just got finished writing a tweet about saying literally too much.
Yeah.
But and he could literally no, but he could play 5 more years. Absolutely.
He could, yeah.
But any one hit and his career's over. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying any one sack or whatever, but one big hit could be the end of his career, and that's where you run into a problem. If you pay this guy $25 million on a 4-year contract in this season, he takes that hit, it's over, and you're stuck.
The fact is that eventually time runs out, and the closer you start getting to that time, the team has to take that into consideration.
Yes.
We're not just talking about Drew Brees' future and his well-being. I mean, the team has to keep that in consideration. I mean, it's as simple as that. So
we need to win 2 in a row.
Yeah.
2 Super Bowls in a
That'll
row.
solve it. And,
we're good.
what I'm saying. It's it's simple.
It's simple. Yeah. I mean,
No big deal.
They need to listen to us more.
I
mean,
think
I don't know. This is the off season. We sit around here at the table. We make some
got this.
plans.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
All right. Let's move on. One of the other pieces of news that comes, because if you're not aware of it, right now the Saints are having their mini camps, and they practice 3 days a week. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah.
Media has access one day a week.
Yeah.
And they'll come up with some quotes, and we could sit here and pick that one little sentence out apart and make a whole show out of it. But
Right.
Alex Anzalone, the flowing hair god,
Anzalone.
he says that his shoulder troubles are behind him.
Yep.
Now, we may have touched on this last week because we talked about linebackers, but to have him say that, it's funny how it just, when somebody says something that you want to hear, it becomes reassuring, you know? So him saying it makes me feel a little bit better about it. And I heard, and I haven't confirmed it.
An unknown source that's
Yes,
coming out
one of
tomorrow.
our unreliable and non-existent sources
There you go.
said that he had surgery, and this is the first time he actually had surgery on the shoulder.
Yeah.
No, I understood he had it once before. It's just that it was minor surgery before, and it didn't do the trick. That was the problem. But this time they actually went in there and fixed the issue once and for all. That's my unknown source says that's the way that it went down. That the first surgery was not effective because it didn't really
So they
address
went
the
in
issue.
and scoped it or something.
Right.
They didn't go in there
Right.
and actually, do some structural
Right.
reconstruction.
Whereas this time they did.
And I don't know if that's what they did. You saying that's what they did?
That's what they did
Okay,
this
I'm
time.
going by my source tells me that they went in and reconstructed his shoulder, and it's completely healed now.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me would be the key to the whole thing. Is the guy has talent? Who was it? One of our old linebackers. I don't know if it was Shanley or Fajita said the kid could be an All-Pro. I mean, he's that good, and that's. I mean, everything we heard and read, he had first-round talent.
Just think back to last year when he was playing last year. The first few games, he was covering that corner. Nobody could get around that corner on him. He was covering the field. And it wasn't until he got hurt in the London game that we actually then realized, well, thank goodness we have Robertson, but he's going to get beat around that corner.
Yeah. There's no doubt the guy has talent.
Absolutely.
And let's hope that this is really the case. Guys, I hate to be negative. I really do. I really do.
You don't often do this.
I hate
but go
to do
ahead.
that. You're right. Every once in a while, though.
It's a Heath rant.
But look, how many times do these guys come out and go, you know what, man, guys, I don't know. I don't know if this is behind me, man.
Yeah,
I'm afraid this might be,
Karen
right.
Meredith last week, didn't he say, man, I'm not sure if I'm going to be. No, actually, I think about it now. He said, I'm going to be ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
He's ahead of schedule.
I'm ahead of schedule.
You don't expect him. Yeah. So I mean, look, I hope so. I really do. I hope to God that that's the case and that whatever they did was, but I wouldn't have expected him to say anything else. So let's see it. I guess that's what I got to say.
All right. Well, if he comes back, it's a huge boost to this defense.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a level where we need to see in order for our defense to take the next step, which is something we need to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, apparently, we got a lot of steps we got to take.
Yeah, we have a lot of
Defense
steps.
has many, many steps they have
Matter
to
of
take.
fact, let's go ahead and bring that up now.
Yes, go ahead.
So ESPN, who has who's given us some pretty favorable reviews so far this offseason.
Yeah, sure they have.
We've been in the power rankings. I don't know what, like number 2, number
28,
4,
29.
No,
No.
It's been pretty good. So we get a favorable review. They say we're going to be the number 1 offense this year. That's what they predict.
That's what they
So, at this point, just like,
You're
man,
smiling. You're like,
you're
yeah,
excited. You're
baby,
thinking.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Then if you continue on down the road,
That's right.
the 30, not 30th, not 31st.
No,
no.
sir. No,
They
sir.
predict that we're going to have the 32nd ranked defense in the
correct.
league.
That's correct.
Listen, okay, look, I don't have my.
It's worse than that, though, Dave.
Where's my Homer glasses, Tomas? I don't have them on.
All right, here you go.
All right, help my
Yeah.
Homer glasses.
Don't really put them on. You're blind yourself, dude. Yeah, that's
fall out of my seat. Putting Tomas. Hold up, man.
blind, but I'm glad.
Don't get
I'm
nauseous.
dizzy, bro. But listen, there's no way in the world you could look at this team. I wouldn't even be having this conversation if they'd have said 15th, 17th, 18th. I'd be like, you know what? Okay, we were injured last year. I think we could do better than that. But it's understandable. Somewhere in the middle of the pack, I get it. But to suggest that the Saints,
Dead last.
who
30 seconds.
so lazy in the way that you writing this report,
Yeah.
that you're just going to use the status quo of the last several years, which is understandable. You just completely disregard everything that happened in 2017
Yeah.
as it doesn't matter.
Well, it's even worse than that, though, Dave, because it goes back to, as you had said before. Yes, we're 32, but according to ESPN, between 32 and 31 is this
huge gap.
chasm. I mean, we're not even close. It's like
Yeah.
we're on one side of the Grand Canyon at 32,
Yeah.
and 31's on the other side of the Grand Canyon. I mean, that's how pathetic
Yeah,
we
so
are.
so they didn't just project that we'll be 32. Okay, now we're just embellishing a little bit
Yeah, that's right.
for the sake of embellishing.
Well,
but-
because ignorance deserves more ignorance. I mean, the
Exactly.
bottom line is
Exactly.
that I don't know how anybody with a straight face could look at all 32 teams in the NFL and pick the Saints after what happened last season to have the 32nd ranked defense.
no,
That's just stupid.
no.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's
Yeah,
stupid.
and again, it's the off season. I don't know, and I try as soon as I start beating my fist on the table, I immediately stop and think to myself, okay, are you being a homer here?
No.
But I just don't know their way. And I'll say this too, and I'm gonna use you as like this. You're not one who I feel like reads a lot of these articles and reacts to them. And whenever I told you about this, you were like mad. You were like,
And I didn't even read it. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's stupid. Nobody can seriously analyze the NFL after the past season and come up to the conclusion that the Saints are going to have the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, don't know how they can come up with that. I'll tell you what, we're gonna take a quick break, refill the cups, come back with some more BS and Beer podcast. Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer podcast crew. Dave Romero, Heath Elson, Tomas Mauricio. I was gonna do the backwards thing.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Romero. Listen, in the break,
Did you
I
fill
know,
up
I
your
just
cup
find-
with that 4.5?
That's,
All right, never mind.
he's talking about cups. He's talking about filling it up with 4.5. I'm not involved in this conversation. You were talking about I'm trying to figure out.
I didn't
we were
have to
having
worry
this
about that.
long
I toughed mine.
conversation. Oh my god! So we got to this long
And
conversation.
mind you, we're not even drinking.
He starts explaining about the estrogen that's in the
Estrogen.
water.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
everything.
man, I'm starting when I was younger, I'd jump off of stuff, and Tomas like, well, you're just getting older, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, or is it that I drink too much water? So I
That's
don't know,
it,
man.
Yeah, you thought they told you drink 8
Eight
glasses of water a
64
day and
ounces a
everything.
day.
Problem
And I
is, they
drink it
didn't
all.
tell you that it's full of birth control pills.
Man,
That's what you get for drinking tap water.
I'm like, all that stuff. I'm trying to be tough. Like, I don't drink that stuff, man. I drink water right out of the tap. No, I'm not a sissy, but really, what
Yeah,
you're doing is making
literally,
yourself.
yeah.
Like, I drink
Real
something
men
for
drink
it.
right out of the hose, you know?
hose water.
Because I want the three of us to last a long time. Next week, I'm going to bring in, just for us, some new bottled water. I was trying to hold back before making the announcement, but I'm going to come out with some new bottled water.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
And I'm going to have the prototypes here next week. Get ready.
hose
Prototypes.
water.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Hose water. That's right.
I'm not going to drink tap water. I'll go out and get bottled water. So
Right.
you just got bottled water that was put a tap into it in Colorado or someplace else.
We got a sponsor. We got a sponsor.
Playing hard or working hard. When your thirst needs to be quenched, there's hose water. Sports drinks or soda.
There you go.
Or connected to your faucet in the backyard if you don't want to pay $4 for
Hose.
hose water.
That's right.
Get yours today.
Hey, listen, we got to get paid.
That's right.
When
I'm
you were a
bringing
kid,
it in.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it in next week.
we got the prototype, the label, the
That's
new,
correct.
new next generation,
That's
next gen
Yeah.
stuff.
Next
That's
year.
right.
No
And
drinking.
again, don't forget, you can pay using a multitude of varieties. We accept credit cards, we accept cash, and we accept Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. That's the Bitcoin. That's the big one because that's the
Yeah.
wave of the future. So that way you don't have to do that thing. See, we take the hose water and we put it right in the bottle for
Right
you.
in the bottle.
So you don't have to drink like It's hot.
Yeah.
Like you first.
No.
Yeah.
We let the first part go out because we have to make sure we have the best water for you.
The best hose.
But
So
it can
when
be
we
messy,
turn on-
you know, just like fountains, you know, the water it hits
That's
your
right.
lid and some of it goes all over. So we
Yeah.
put it right in a bottle.
Right in a bottle. But
Tidy
let
it
the
up
hot
for you.
water come out first, and we
Yeah.
use brand new
hoses. Yeah.
Yeah.
We, none. We have a certain the what is it like our Q quality control department.
Yeah.
That's correct.
After so many gallons go through the hose,
That's
we buy.
it.
We go to
Yeah.
Lowe's. We buy a
Yeah.
new hose.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
We
That's
do
right.
rigorous dry rot testing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We do.
Absolutely. Make sure that brass end, because
Yeah.
we don't use any cheap kind of metal.
Yep.
We have brass ends
Yep.
on our hoses.
We check to make sure they haven't been backed over by the car.
That's correct. I
Nothing.
remember
Yeah.
my father would do that all the time and curse up a blue streak.
Yeah.
Oh, new hose! Yeah. But then you go to the store and cut that off.
That was back when
and you
Barney
Yeah,
and
you
Rubble,
buy
they'd
the
have the
little plastic,
cement
yeah.
tires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barney and Fred.
Yeah. All right.
Yabba dabba doo.
So we're really trying to stretch this out. We'd like to get about an hour so we can get your whole commute. But right now, all right. So do we go with the breaking news?
Breaking news.
Hold on.
Breaking news from the BS and Beer news desk.
That's right. All right. Breaking news. Here's the thing. Taysom Hill was seen holding kicks.
That's correct.
Yes.
Holding kicks. Now,
Holding snaps.
what-
Holding snaps.
Yeah,
and
hold.
kicks.
Like, you know, he was receiving the snap,
That's
placing the ball in the kick.
There you
Now, as silly as that may sound, and I'm sure it does sound a little bit like insignificant, the fact of the matter is that's your backup
Second
quarterback.
string quarterback.
That's your
There you
second
go.
string guy.
There you
So, you know, he's a guy who can throw the ball, but he's also the guy who's not really working with the one. So during practice, he can go work with the kicker during practice. And because there's a lot of timing that needs to be perfect, so these kicks are going to, not have any issues.
Right.
So when you start seeing there are certain little things, the fourth preseason game, check out who's on the kick team. You can find out who some of these lower guys on the roster, which ones are making the squad.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another thing that's a dead giveaway is who's doing the holding for the kicks.
Yep.
Not so much in the games, but practice. Because, they can trot anybody out there, but during practice, they want to make sure that it's 100%. The mechanics are perfect.
And furthermore,
Oh,
he
here we go.
already has experience on special teams. So not only, he's a multi-dimensional player.
Yeah.
On special teams, not only will he be holding, but he will also be rushing
Yeah.
to block the punt.
I'm not sure if this is good or bad. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I hope that somebody listens to this and says,
So
man,
I don't know if this really foretells whether he's a backup quarterback. I mean, I think certainly the Saints would love for him to emerge and be the backup quarterback. But if nothing else, think of the extra athleticism that he brings to the position,
Yes,
right?
yes.
What
Being
happens
serious
if they
now,
do
yes.
want to run fakes, right?
Yes.
He's not only a guy that can throw the ball, but he's a guy that has good wheels, right?
Right.
What if it's a botched snap?
Sure.
And it gets dribbled along on the ground, he's got to pick it up. He's much more likely to be able to run around and potentially make a play.
As opposed to Tony Romo.
Yeah.
that's exactly
Were
what
you
I was thinking.
See?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'll give you another one. I don't know if you've seen the videos or not, but I saw a couple of videos where he was side by side with Drew Brees during the practices, and he would throw the ball, and now he's doing just like Brees. He throws the ball, ball's out, now he's looking
And
at
he
his
still
second.
goes through the progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again,
And then if, God forbid, we get one blocked, we've seen him as a gunner on the team. He'll run anybody down.
And I don't know if you're doing that
Exactly.
as I don't think you're being funny when you say that, because that's actually, you get in those situations that ball gets blocked, or, I haven't seen the last few years, but you see these long kicks, and then a guy starts returning them.
Right.
And after you break that film down, you start realizing that everybody on the kicking team, the smallest guy is a tight end. I guess the holder. But the point is that there's not a lot of guys who are going to chase somebody down.
right.
And,
Right, 'cause they're all big bodies.
Yeah, they're all big body guys. So to have a guy like a super athlete that's fast to be able to at least maybe attempt to chase a guy down,
Yeah.
is positive. All right, so let's move on to boy, I tell you, man, it's trying to make stories out of.
No, but that was good. I think we hit the point there.
Yeah, well, I hope you all enjoyed it. So let's see. Down to the last one. Oh, no, we have
I
two
got a
good
couple
topics
more.
here. Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to become a legend.
That's right.
Year in and year out. I'm trying to build on everything I did last year. I'm trying to be 10 times better than what I was last year. Then next year, I want to be 10 times better than I was this year.
Yep.
It's a little confusing, but I think
No,
he's
we
saying
get
he
it.
wants to be
Yeah.
10 times better
Yeah.
every year. Now, that's pretty
Well,
lofty
that's
goals.
actually it'd be thousands of times
You're
better.
right,
But
right.
yeah,
You're starting to get exponential.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
I'm no
Yeah.
mathematician.
I want to be logarithmically better next year
There
than I
you
was
go.
this year.
There you go.
All right. Any comments, Marshawn Lattimore? What are the chances that he becomes?
Yeah, well, I mean, with a guy
1,000
like
times
that on
better
the
in 2
team, I
years?
mean, why do you expect better than 32 on defense? I mean, come on.
No.
Yeah.
No. I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Well, now it could be not just playing. It could be leadership quality on the team, making sure that the rest of the fellows on the team, he feels more confident to make calls from his position. Those are things that will improve his play because he's improving the people around him.
Yeah.
So I can see where he can think that, look, I've got some places that I can improve on, and I want to improve on those places.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great attitude for this man to come out and say, look, I don't care what people think I was good or not. I know I can be better, and I'm going to be a lot better.
Well,
Hey,
here's the thing where I agree with that, because sometimes you hear about the sophomore slump, and
Yeah.
yes,
really
yes.
what the sophomore slump is in a lot of occasions is defenses catch up with you. You're a quarterback. You go out there, you do certain things. Man, I'm good when I roll to my left and I throw from this and these type of routes. NFL defenses have a whole offseason. And literally, these coaches don't go in and just sit down and start drinking coffee. And, it's like
Yeah.
they literally go into the office 8-10 hours a day. In the offseason, it's not like the regular season. They're not going in for 14 and 15 and 18. They go in there and they just breaking down film.
Yeah.
And then what they do is they find a way to stop you from doing what you do best.
Exactly.
Then once
Exactly.
they take that from you, now they're going to say, okay, you better develop those skills in other areas. If you don't throw well going to your right, well, then all of a sudden they taking the left from you. You go into the right. If you can't make a play, then you see guys wash out
Right.
because they're not able to take it to the next level.
Exactly.
So with him, it's not so much because he's a defender. Sometimes with guys like that, they're so good in their first year, they just kind of take the offseason off. Man, I'm just going to go sit down, relax a little bit. I'll hit workout later. They don't take it that serious because it came too easy to them.
Yeah.
And that's my concern with guys like Lattimore who are ungodly talented, is that it goes to their head. Based on that comment, doesn't
I don't
sound
think
like
it
it.
was
Doesn't
that.
sound like it.
Plus,
No.
you know that Marcus Williams is out there practicing his tush off, because he wasn't happy with the way things ended. So you just think about the youth that we have in the defensive backfield. These kids they know they can be better. They're pushing each other to be better. I see it all as positives, really.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
I think that we're gonna see a better Marshawn Lattimore, and that's kind of scary. I mean, he's
Yeah. It's already pretty good.
I don't know. It's going to get a little bit stronger. I don't know. Again, now we can go back to that 32 ranking from ESPN. I just don't know what goes through their mind to think that. All right, let's switch gears unless y'all have something else on Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore.
You get it right yet?
LaShawn Lattimore.
Madam Moore. All right.
That's what. Okay.
Hey, let's hope he takes a leap forward like Crawley did between year one and year
There
two.
you
Can
go.
you imagine
Okay, listen.
Lattimore with that kind of improvement?
Well, I was going to say, Crawley is not on Lattimore's level, but if the improvement,
Yeah.
I mean, that was 10 times
That was a
better.
10 times improvement.
Yeah, wow,
exactly.
man.
So-
Can you imagine? I mean,
Yeah.
what do they
Exactly.
do? Just like put everybody on the defensive line, let Lattimore cover the
Yeah,
rest
the
of
whole field.
every
They don't
whole
need
field.
no-
Done.
don't
got
need-
it.
he's got it.
We'll put Williams back there at free safety about 30 yards deep, just in case.
Yeah.
They got it.
Well,
just,
yeah, maybe
just
somebody
imagine
else.
the opposition comes up and says, "Okay, we're gonna put 3 receivers in." We're like, "Go ahead,
Go ahead.
not a problem. We're still gonna play island. That's fine with
Yeah,
us."
yeah.
Oh, we put 4 receivers in. Go ahead. Got no problem. We got
got
4
no problem.
islands.
So
out
which
here,
one
no
you going to
problem.
put Island on? No, we got Islands.
Yeah, right.
He's on all of them. Don't
He's
worry
on all
about
of it. He just got it. Locked down. All right, so let's move on. The new return rules and how it will affect
Yes, yeah.
the kick returns.
Yes.
I had an interesting little tweet conversation with one of the New Orleans media, and I can't remember his name. Apologize, I don't want to stop the show to look it up. But he actually put out a video, and he talked about the kick return. He said that it's actually going to help the return, and he was the first person that I saw or read that actually gave an opposing view, because everything that I've heard, seen, read is that it's going to be hard. You can no longer have a wedge. And for those of you who don't really understand what that means, is they're big guys, and it used to be a 3-man wedge.
Right. Then they
Back
used
when
to
I
have
was in
2.
high school, and there's 2 guys, the 2 guys next to the kicker on the kickoff team were wedge busters, and their job, literally, their whole job was just to blow those 3 guys up.
Yeah.
So you run 40 yards downfield and throw your body into 3 offensive linemen, and
Right.
that was your job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so the running back, essentially, the receiver, you catch the ball and you run into the wedge right behind those guys. Now it's somewhat similar to getting a ball on a handoff. You know, they block and then you find a hole and you take off run.
Right.
Ideally. No, they went where those guys several years ago where the rules changed where they couldn't have 3 men. It
Right.
went down to 2 men.
Right.
Now they have eliminated the wedge altogether. Another rule that they're putting in is that they're taking – now we're talking about the returners. The returners – and I'm not talking about the return of the ball. I'm talking about people on the return team now have to line up closer to the ball. And so when the ball's kicked, they run back, and then they can turn on and block. So that means that they're running at the same speed with everyone else. And I definitely see where this will reduce collisions because no longer do you have a guy standing on the 10 and another guy running from the negative 40, and you run at each other and hit each other. The problem is I don't know how in the world you could possibly think that's going to help returns. You
Well,
are
don't
no
they also
longer-
have to be closer to the line? The kickoff team, don't they also have to be closer to the line so they can't pick up as much speed?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the changes as well. They can't be way back and get a running start.
Yeah, you can't get that.
I think they have to be
so
standing,
no more standing still and take off
there's no
running.
more- yeah.
Well, and then now that'll kind of equalize the fact that the guy who's essentially trying to block you is going to be running side by side with you, trying to get back.
Right.
But now, instead of being in a position to, for lack of a better term, impede the guy, facing him, set your feet, and then block
Yeah.
him, you're now going to be trying to shadow him, and I just cannot see.
So what is this? The get the returner killed package?
No,
is that what this rule?
Yeah,
I mean,
no, and am I wrong?
no, I agree with you. So your guys on your return team, your blockers are going to be less effective at blocking because they're running at the same speed to get in front. You can't have the wedge anymore. So now it just sounds to me like the guys on the coverage team have more of a wide open shot at taking your head off when you're
Well,
coming down the field. Than
It'll be
anything.
safer for all 10 guys on the return team,
Yeah.
except for the guy who catches the ball,
Yeah.
who's going to get destroyed by. And this is what I foresee. Now, having said that,
Now,
I
what's the
was-
rules on like a Monday night game when it's a full moon? Do they have a different scenario? Do we
maybe.
have to,
Or
you
they'll
know,
change
I
it by
don't know.
then.
You know, it's like, come on, man. I'm sorry, but this
Well,
is all
now,
just
I would
getting
say
stupid.
this. I'm going to go on the side of saying that it's a positive thing. And here's what I'm going to say about it. Because it really has to show your athleticism. No, I'm serious now. Because if you go back and you think about the one kick that comes to my mind, the kick where Kamara got the ball, and he was in the end zone, and he almost took a knee. And they said, you know, I see a crease right there. I might be able to do something right there. And he took off. And he took off, and he didn't stop till he got to the other end zone.
Yeah.
And again, if you go back, Hester, Dion, all these people, they beat the other guys. So it's about the athleticism of running as opposed to brute force. So I'm going to say that, and because I think of this, you were saying it before about having Tayshaun Hill back there to have at least one athletic guy. On kickoffs and punts, don't be shocked if it changes everything. It won't be those big wide body guys anymore. You know, they're going to have a lot more tight end,
They've
running
already
back,
changed that.
linebacker. Yeah.
There's been a lot of reports already that the body type of the players that are going to be on the kickoff return team have changed. I can see where the kickoff team will change too because they won't have to run into
Yes,
a
exactly.
300-pound lineman
Yes,
back there.
yes.
So what you're going to end up with is a lot more of the back end guys. You're going to end up with DBs, receivers,
Yes,
linebackers.
yes.
Having said that, man, I just don't know how you're going to take off running as a kickoff return guy and blocking, be able to get to a point where you can turn and block the guy. Like, because keep in mind, like you might have a 15-yard head start on him, but you don't necessarily know exactly where the ball is. You're running towards the ball, and what defender or kick off guy are you going to pick up? And once you pick him up, wherever the bat, you're no longer blocking him and trying to maintain. In any blocking, you're going to get up in the guy and you're going to try to maintain your block, move your feet, keep your feet wide, and block. Now you're just going to be running, and you're kind of like more like a gunner. Think about a gunner on a punt return team. And those defenders.
Right.
It's going to be like that. But there's going to be 11 of them. And why do you think that they put, and this is just coming to me now as I'm talking, why do you think they put 2 guys on the gunner? Because there's no one guy that can run the entire length of the field with you and maintain position between you and the punt returner. And those guys have 2 guys blocking them, and they still beat them half the time and get to the the other time they block them into the sidelines. But half the time with 2 guys blocking you now. Keep in mind,
Schemes have to change. I mean, the coaching schemes have to change Athleticism has to change. The style of play. You're talking about, okay, we got 2 guys on the gunner, but they're right on top of him. Now, let's say that you're not on top of him. Let's say you're 10 yards back, and you start running when he runs. Like you said, well, it's going to be about how do you use your arms. How do you plant your legs? I mean, it's all going to be technique, scheme, coaching.
Right. I agree. Until we actually see it in play on the field, I'm not going to exactly know it, but I just, in my mind, trying to use some other experiences, playing ball, coaching ball, and watching tons of football. I'm trying right now. I'm literally trying to think of how I can say, well, how about let's look at it from a different perspective. And I just look at it and say, man, that's going to be a hell of a task to block those guys. But we'll probably start seeing maybe some cross blocking or something where you take off running and you're not going to sit there and try to block the guy who's running essentially, who's parallel with you. You might say, look, you're the inside guy. You need to block the outside guy, and then you cross block, and it makes angles easier.
Schemes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think we're going to have at least half a dozen returns as a Saints for touchdowns.
All right.
There you go. I'm going to call it right
Well,
now.
it's going to be interesting to see which teams prepare the best for the changes, right?
Yeah,
there are going to be teams that are going to come out and do much better at this than other teams, and see what kind of an impact it actually does or doesn't make.
Well, according to our special teams coach,
Yes.
on some interviews
Which
I
one?
heard him. The
young one or the old one?
The old one.
Oh, okay.
He whatever it
He
is,
invented this back in
whatever he
1920.
invented it, and he thought about this 22 years ago.
They
and
finally
then,
come around to my way of thinking.
I came up with this when we were still wearing leather helmets.
He's hilarious. Anyway, you got any final thoughts there, Heath?
I got nothing.
No. All right, Tomas.
You got nothing?
I got
Seriously?
nothing. I got
See,
nothing.
We missed that.
Come on. I enjoy when you have nothing. Final thoughts?
4.5 inches worth.
Wow. Heath, brother?
Yeah.
You got nothing? Well, anyway, I would just say, I'm sorry, Dave, but I don't fold mine in half for anybody. But go ahead now.
Oh God, I feel like I'm back in elementary school.
Yeah, I'm just uncomfortable that he like saying that at the same time you touching me is just like. Anyway, all right. Hey, for Heath Elson, Tomas Mauricio, I'm
sir.
Dave Romero. You've been listening to the BS and Beer podcast. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.